Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first unit of impeccable wisdom. Let's once again talk of Kapil Vriksh, the divine tree which roots are in the heaven and leaves are on the ground. They bring the universal chemistry down and transform chemistry into from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom and further development on the earth. But at this particular stage, having come to a stage of understanding basic chemistry, inorganic, organic, and biochemistry. Now we are going to come to the stage of understanding a cell, plant cell as well as human cell, so that the further development from unicellular organism to multicellular organism can take place. But this is the starting of next stage of chemistry's real thing what happened on the earth. But before going to that, let's talk about plant cell and animal cell as such. As I told you, it's always better for us to understand the comprehension from the beginning, step by step. As I've been telling you, this is what is going to be the objective of Divyank Sutra. Now, from universe, methane plus oxygen got together to form carbon dioxide and water, as you can see, and it's going to come down from clouds to thunder, rain to the earth, and it moved from all over the earth converted into 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen for the further section. Then the photosynthesis has brought it to that particular level. The first step of photosynthesis, how six carbons of carbon dioxide and six molecules of water, they got together to form one component of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen to replace 97% carbon dioxide into 21% this. And also the union of carbon with hydrogen to produce nitrogen, which is 78%. Then glucose and oxygen was consumed by the human cells at a next stage to convert into carbon dioxide and water, thereby the equilibrium is maintained. For equilibrium, we need basic chemistry, which is from methane, oxygen, water, as well as carbon dioxide to glucose, oxygen, and then from plant kingdom to animal kingdom to maintain the balance in totality. All the three levels, mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, and animal kingdom, play a very important role to keep us vibrant Mother Earth, and which is dynamic in every aspect. And we human beings are the greatest creation to be in tune with universal consciousness. The evolution we are seeing the evolution step by step. So next stage is definitely one of cell as such in plant as well as animals. Now come to the plant cells and animal. You can see both of them together. One is a green in color. We call the chloroplast, and second is yellow by and large. Now in this particular thing, you can see very clearly distinction is very different. Shapes are different. I'm not going to details, but more or less basic structure continues to be the same. Only thing is this chloroplast is able to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and other products in the plant kingdom, and cells are able to use glucose and other things for further development. Now, let me tell you one thing very clearly. When you see under a compound microscope, you can see only three parts. That is cell membrane, as you see in one part, and cytoplasm, you can see a second part, and nucleus, the third part. Basically, there are three parts, but each of them under electron microscope can be seen as made of 777 parts. That means there are 21 parts in a plant kingdom, very clear, and details of that would be seen as we move on to understand animal cells, because there is no difference at all except for the chloroplast. More or less the same structure is there. We have evolved step by step. What is found to be very intelligent is further developed. Even the last DNA I said, plant DNA is made of 7 strands, where the human's DNA is made of 10.333441 strands, and brought it together with the Divyank, the perfection. Divyank is more applicable to the human kingdom, particularly the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and psychology of human beings, than you see in lower kingdom, whether it's the minerals, or plants, or lower animals. The complete uniformity can be seen in a perfect integrated human being only. Now, plants has a detailed structure as you can see in this picture very clearly. You can see the cell membrane outside, which is green color compound. Then you can see amyloplast. You can see Refi crystals. You can see vacuoles. You can see chloroplast. You can see Golgi apparatus. You can see cell membrane outside, and also cytoplasm. And of course, you can see the ribose, you can see mitochondria, you can see endoplasmic, both rough and smooth. You can also perioxisome, as well as nucleus you can see, and all the structures are more or less the same thing what you see in animal kingdom except for the chloroplast. Chloroplast green, which look very much like mitochondria, are the very distinct for plant kingdom to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. And that is what I have already explained. Let's move on to the next stage. Now, for green pigment in chloroplast is important as you see the photosynthesis. This is a structure which is a structure of chloroplast as you can see, which very has almost same thing like mitochondria. And this picture is Encyclopedia Britannica. Wonderful work. They are they do something detailed, and I think it's a fantastic thing to propagate. Their work is good. Now I come to the next stage in plant kingdom. The one plant which stands out very important in my life or in the life of Indians by and large, as far as spirituality is concerned, is a banyan tree or people tree, which in English is called Ficus religiosa. And the very word ficus and religiosa shows that it's a religious tree, and it is alien to India and is primarily here. And shape of leaf of banyan and aura of a human being are more or less identical. They exactly look like Divyank ratio only. Length and breadth. If width is 38.1966%, the height is 61.803%. It's very clear. And this is something, and this is the only tree which can give oxygen 24 hours. Maybe that is the reason it is always used by the spiritual people in India to live under the banyan tree and become like a banyan tree, produce oxygen 24 hours, and become enlightened and empowered, educated in the process. So, importance, religious importance of banyan tree, people tree, is very clearly in India, and this is also part of the cell or cumulative cells in this particular thing. And the structure you can also see right in the middle is a line which is like Sushmana Nadi, and then you have Ida Pingala Nadis, and almost every structure is seen in the same thing in both the structures. It is very interesting that you can see, and even the number of strands coming from the center one is more or less 10 plus only on either side. Now, come to the question of photosynthesis. I have also made it clear with the knowledge of science. This is where I am very clear. If you want to be a perfect human being, you got to have a knowledge of divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine arts, and divine mathematical design of sciences itself. Without mathematical science, you cannot be that. But to add the real beauty from man-made mathematics to convert it to divine mathematics, it is a spiritual science of ancient Indian lands of Akhand Bharat has helped me to perceive Divyank. So let me be very frank. This knowledge of Divyank came from Akhand Bharat, and let's meet it. From this angle, let's bring science and spirituality together. And spirituality says morning, Brahmani Gayatri, evening Rudrani Gayatri are two important parts as far as Gayatri mantra is concerned. And in this particular picture, you can see the same thing. Left side, you have green color, ultraviolet right, which is there in the morning as it comes. But the peak you can see in the beginning, it represents the maximum amount of oxygen is produced when the sunlight, which is ultra in the morning, when the sun rises, is the optimum for producing oxygen. That is what it is. And second thing, evening, Rudrani is infrared. That is also produces more oxygen than rest of the day. It proves morning and evening are two important parts. That's no with Brahmani Gayatri is in the morning, Rudrani Gayatri Shiva is in the evening. This is something which is very important. And from that, you can say two extremes of the Vivgya produce maximum oxygen. In between, you don't see so much of it. That is something which I wanted to say. Even these chloroplast cells also depend on that. Leaf, banyan tree. I'm talking about other trees by and large. Then, second thing in photosynthesis, which I want to make it clear once again for the people to understand that it is water which is converted into oxygen. As a light reaction in the chloroplast, in the presence of sun, is water into oxygen. That's first step. And in the process of converting water into oxygen, you produce ATP and APH, which are energy molecules. And then they help in Calvin's cycle to produce carbon dioxide into sugar, which is glucose. Carbon dioxide to sugar is in Calvin, but in the process, ATP used is converted that. And that makes this cycle very beautiful. Both oxygen is from water and sugar or glucose is from carbon dioxide. That is something which I want people to be very specific. The next comes the human cell. Let's understand as we proceed to understand the concept very clearly. This is a divine design of human cells. Now, the definition of human. A structural and functional unit of the human body is a human cell. Unicellular is one, but we are multicellular. There are 200 different types of human cells in the human body. That is something which I written. There are 100 trillion cells in the human body is also a fact. And we have the living cells that create new cells. And we also have mature cells like RBCs and neurons which cannot reproduce. And why they cannot reproduce, I think I've already explained. The difference in a living cell and mature cell is living cell has centriosome which can convert to two centrioles to produce further. It is not the nucleus, it is centriosome only. And mature cells do not have centriosome. RBCs do not have nucleus, but neurons have. But just to produce that living cells can reproduce because they have centrosome. That is also specific knowledge which I want the world to have, not be confused with what different books are giving different ideas. Because being a professor, when asked a question from students, they are not able to give impeccable wisdom. That is also one of the reasons why I am making these videos and my writings to bring uniformity in knowledge for all the students of the world, irrespective of which background they come from. And I want, whether it's poor, rich, and others, any hardworking, intelligent, listening person should benefit from my knowledge and move on to a very higher level. Economics is important, but education is more important. Education can give you the wisdom or money automatically. Lakshmi automatically comes. So, Saraswati, other goddess of knowledge, is the first foundation. Second is the hard work. Rest of the thing will fall into the place. That is the reason I want every student, every researcher, every teacher, every professor in the world to give uniform discussion throughout. Then we'll have less to remember and nothing to be re-remembered unlearned. That is the objective. Now, coming to human cells. You see Trinity, as I've been always saying, if you're seeing the three most important atoms and elements, it is hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. If you're seeing the first three most important molecules. It is methane, water, and carbon dioxide. And if you're going to see a cell, you see the cell membrane, you see cytoplasm and nucleus, three things under compound microscope, as this picture makes it very, very clear. Cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. That's are the three things you're going to see under compound microscope. When you go further, under electron microscope, you can see cell membrane made of 7 parts, cytoplasm made of 7 parts, nucleus made of 7 parts, 21 parts are there in the cell itself. That's same thing. And same thing, solar system is also made of 21 parts. Earth is made of 7 parts, Antariksh is made of 7 parts, and so is heaven made of 7 heavens. Now let's say the cell membranes, first part of cell membrane. You can see 7 amazing particles in this particular picture. This is also a picture from Encyclopedia Britannica, and you can see two layers of lipid bilayer, one outside, one inside. The outside is projected towards extracellular space, interstitial space, and inside is toward intracellular space. But each one is made of a component, and you have seen 7 parts. Number one, lipid, two layers, as you can see in 2 parts. This hydrophilic polar heads as a phosphoric acid is 1 part. Again, it is phosphoric acid as well as fatty acids. And that's a combination you can see. Then third is a cholesterol, layer of cell membrane, sugar made of cell membrane, integral intrinsic protein long chain, and peripheral extrinsic short part. These are the 7 most important part. Of course, there are many more, but these are the 7 play very, very important role in creating cell membrane as it is. It's like Earth is made of 7 parts, atal to patal. That's it. Now the comes to, I'm trying to explain extracellular space and intracellular space. Extracellular is price blood from capillaries to the cells, and it supplies water, nutrient, electron, everything is supplied, as you can see right on top, which is extracellular space. You can see sodium, you can see glucose, you can see everything. Then there is a cell membrane, and then within that you have a structure which takes it inside. Intracellular space is there, but the hydrophilic elements do not cross easily, whereas lipophilic elements go through easily because of cell membrane, which is made of lipid layer. Oxygen can easily go through, steroids can go through, but water and hydrophilic things cannot go. They need energy molecules like ATP, and you can see it is ATP which helps you to take from outside to inside. That is something which, again, that's why I'm step by step trying to take you, so that you have a sequence knowledge in a very natural divine way. Now comes this organelles. There are 7 organelles which are very, very important. Number one is mitochondria. Why I'm talking about mitochondria? Because that's the one which produces ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is essential for active process of cell respiration in the human body. So ATP is very important. How phosphate comes out as an energy molecule for the actions, and ADP remains. I have already explained. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is the one which starts the process of formation of protein products by and large. What nucleus has got DNA, mRNA, they go to endoplasmic to produce amino acids and proteins only. Rough, smooth enteral is for fatty acid, lipids only. And Golgi apparatus is apparatus which tries to make things, whole thing as an intermediate before they go to lysosome, ribosomes. And there are one centrosome which is made of two fused parts of centriole. These are the 7 important parts of cytoplasm itself. Now come to the question of mitochondria. I'm going to talk detail this particular structure is important because it produces adenosine triphosphate as such, which is required for secondary transport system, the active transport system. That's it. And one more thing which I made here is derived from E. coli, which is bacterial thing, which remembered mRNA. And same kind of mRNA is found here, which is able to convert adenosine triphosphate as such, and that is important part in this, that this is energy molecule. That this is an energy molecule. Let's take it that all the energy is produced here for all the active processes within the cell membrane or anything connected with the cells. Second thing, as I'm trying to endoplasmic, rough endoplasmic is, as I told you in the beginning, is a synthesis of protein, which is important. Since also includes post-translational modification, folding, sorting of the whole process from mRNA, DNA to mRNA, and other things, and this functional part is there in rough. Whereas smooth is responsible for synthesis of fatty acids and lipids, and also like phospholipid, cholesterol molecules, it's also responsible for creation steroids and other metabolism of carbohydrates. So these two are very important parts of the cytoplasm. Now come to the next stage, Golgi apparatus. It transports the molecule synthesized by rough endoplasmic reticulum. It fuses the membrane and sorts out the destination. Molecules undergo remodeling and modification in the system. Molecules are secreted out from the cell to be used later by another organelle like your riboplasms, lysosomes, other thing to manufacture into thing which we are going to be finally used. So that way Golgi apparatus is the fourth one, very, very important. Then lysosome is the one which breaks down all the unwanted products. Waste and cellular products which are useless is removed through lysoplasm, and it is primarily because of hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is water plus oxygen. This oxygen which it releases burns that out. That is what Agni is all about. And that is where spirituality has helped me to understand science better, because what scientists have not told me, spirituality has given me the idea and explore and explain to the people this is how things happen. That is as lysosome is concerned. Ribosome is the one in which proteins are made. You have non-membrane things, you have small unit, large unit, they synthesize amino acids and proteins as a, that is what ribosomes are all about. So six of them we have already discussed. Now come to the seventh part is centrosome and centriole. You look at the structure, that's two in centrosome, and structure you can see is just exactly like pineal gland. Nine things in the middle and 2 into the 27. This 27 also is scientifically very important. 9 is also scientifically very important. And then they are two closely held together, but they are together as such. They do not take part in anything other than when the question of reproduction starts. During the first stage of creation, the first 21 parts which are there in the cell, and this centrosome is converted to two centrioles. As a result, you have 22 parts, and then they go through the first stage by 22 by 21 is very clear in this particular process. And that's what I'm building up, so that when you go to the next stage, how the first stage of creation is 22 by 21, and you can see this as the responsible. Now come to the human's nucleus. You can see the structure very clearly. It is made of seven parts again. You have nuclear pores, you have nuclear membrane, you have chromatin, you have granules, you have cryogens, you have nucleus and chromatin and proteus, the seven part. But lower picture I have made it very clear to see that centrosome is very close to the nucleus, but it is outside the nucleus. And the one which has got follicles which divide the cell, mother cell, into two daughter cells are responsible here. And this idea is only to show that centrosome is very close to the nucleus, although it's a part of cytoplasm, but almost fused with the nucleus. It is not inside the nucleus, it is outside the nucleus. That is something which I'm trying. Whereas inside the nucleus, you have chromosomes and other things which get divided into two, and two go to two opposite sides, from haploid to again diploid or diploid to haploid. The process goes on. We will discuss that when we come to that particular stage of further division. Now, the human nucleus cells, you can see the nucleus, you can see nucleus. Within that, and different processes it takes place have been explained very clearly. I don't think I would like to go into details of nuclear problem, but people who are interested in disease part and mRNA function, cell stress, and other things can leisurely read about it. They can do much more in the process, looking at this and relating to this in a much better way. Now, this is the divine structure of nucleic acid, which I've already explained in DNA. Is a beautiful thing. You have phosphoric acid, then you have deoxyribose, then you have nucleic acid. The structure is very clear. Now, this particular structure is made according to DIVYANK, which is a part of the cell as such. This is a part of DNA within the human nucleus, cell nucleus. And it is made with divine design of DIVYANK. And as I told you, difference with Watson and Crick's model, James Watson, James Watson and Francis Crick model is width is 20, but I say it's 21. They said each strand is 21 angstrom. The nucleus instead of 10 are 10.34, and height is 34. The remaining things remain same. And once this is understood, we know the structure within the nucleus of DNA in human cells is according to Dweck the perfect one. In the plant, it is 7 strands. In humans, it is 10.344 strands. Width is 21, not 20. Height is more or less 34. And other structures are more or less same. And that is what I've been seeing. Once we understand that, we are very clear how we can proceed to the next stage very clearly. And having explained that, I think more than enough for us to understand this is what the whole structure is. So thank you very much.